If you use Claude a lot, you've probably had this happen. You're in the middle of working, everything is going well, and then suddenly you hit the limit. And it's so annoying because sometimes it feels like you didn't even do that much. That literally happened to me in my previous video. I want to help you to fix that. So in this video, I'm going to give you 8 super simple tips to save Claude tokens, stop hitting the limit so fast, and just use Claude in a much better way. So let's get into it. Tip number 1 is understanding that Claude is counting tokens, not just messages. And I feel like this is the part that surprises most people. Because on the surface, it just feels like you are sending another normal message. But every time you send a message, Claude is not only reading that one message, it's also reading the earlier conversation too. And that's where a lot of people waste their usage without even realizing it. Because when the chat gets longer, every message gets more expensive. So even if your new message is short, Claude still has to go back and read all the other stuff again. That's why sometimes it feels like you barely ask anything, but your usage limit disappears fast. I honestly didn't fully think about it like this at first either. I think a lot of us just use it naturally like a normal chat and don't realize how quickly all that extra context starts adding up. So the biggest mindset shift you need is this. Stop thinking only about messages and start thinking about tokens. Because once you understand that, everything else starts making sense. If your chats are long, messy, and full of extra back and forth, you're going to hit the limit much faster. Tip number 2 is don't keep fixing Claude with follow-up messages. This is the one of the easiest ways to waste tokens. Claude gives you something that's a bit off and then you reply with, no, not like that, make it shorter, change the tone, and then you actually just keep going. And honestly, I think most of us do this because it feels normal. You're in the flow, you get new idea, then another, and you just keep adding little correction as you go. I do this too sometimes, especially when I'm working fast and just want to get the final result. But the problem is every extra message becomes part of the conversation. So now Claude has to read the original reply, your correction, the next correction, and everything else too. That adds up really fast. A better move is to go back to your original prompt, make it clearer, and regenerate. That way you are replacing the weak prompt instead of stacking more and more messages on top of it. This keeps the chat cleaner, it saves tokens, and usually it gives you a better answer too. So instead of trying to fix Claude answers in 5 more messages, fix the original prompt first. Tip number 3 is start a new chat earlier. A lot of people stay in one Claude chat for way too long, and I get it. It feels easier to keep everything in one place, it feels organized, and sometimes starting a new chat almost feels like starting over, which is why people avoid it. I used to think that too. But long chats are exactly where things starts getting expensive. And sometimes the longer the chat gets, the worse the results start feeling too. Claude can start feeling less focused, less sharp, and a bit all over the place. So if the chat is getting long, or the task has changed, or the conversation is starting to feel messy, just start a fresh chat. That doesn't mean you are losing progress. It just means you are being smarter with your usage. And if you still need an important context, just ask Claude to give you a short summary of what matters. Then copy that into a new chat, and that's it. Now you keep the useful part without dragging all extra stuff without you. Honestly, sometimes that fresh start helps more than people expect. And it's one of the easiest ways to make your usage last longer. Tip number 4 is to put everything into clear, prompt, and keep it simple. This helps a lot. A lot of people stretch one task across 3 or 4 messages. They say, for example, summarize this, then they say make it shorter, then they say give me 3 title ideas. And I get why people do that. Sometimes it feels easier to think step by step, you know? So you send one thing, then another thing comes to your mind, then another. But instead of doing that, put the full task into one message. Summarize this, make it shorter, and give me 3 title ideas. This is actually so much better because Claude sees the full job right away and it definitely understands what you want from the start. Also, it can avoid all that extra back and forth. That means fewer wasted tokens and usually a better result too. And while you do that, keep the prompt simple. You don't need loads of extra words. You don't need to write a giant speech. Just say what you want clearly. So for example, write this email, make it friendly, short, and clear. That's enough. And I think a lot of us sometimes over-explain because we want the answer to be perfect. But a lot of the time, simple and clear works better. Simple prompts are cheaper, cleaner, and usually better. So the rule here is put more into one prompt and keep that prompt simple. Tip number 5 is save your style and repeat it context once. If every chat starts with the same setup, you are wasting tokens. Things like write in a simple tone, keep it casual, use short paragraphs, make it easy to understand. If you type the same stuff every single time, it adds up. And this is one of those habits that feel small, but over the time, it really makes a difference, especially if you use Claude every day. So if Claude memory or preferences are available, use them. Set your style tone, tell Claude how you like to answer, tell it what tone you want, tell it how you want things written. And if you're not using memory, then at least keep one short save instructions that you can reuse. Something like write simple, friendly, clear, no hard words, like talking to a friend. Also, when you move to a fresh chat, only bring over the important context. Don't bring over the whole messy conversation if you don't need it. The goal is simple. Stop repeating the same setup again and again. Tip number 6 is use the right model for the right job. Not every task needs the strongest model, and this is where a lot of people waste usage. If you're doing simple work like grammar fixes, rewriting, short captions, formatting, or basic brainstorming, you probably do not need the heavy model for that. Use the lighter model for the easy stuff. Then save the most powerful model for the work that actually needs deeper thinking. I think this is another one people forget because once they find a model they like, they just want to use it for everything. And I get it. It feels easier to stick with one thing, but not every task needs maximum power. That one habit can make your usage last so much longer. Tip number 7 is turn off extra features you don't need to. This one is easy to forget. Sometimes people leave extra features on for every task, even when the task is super basic. But if you're using Claude for writing helping, simple content ideas, or quick answers, you usually do not need everything switched on. And I think this happens because once a feature is there, it's tempting to just leave it on and not think about it. But before you send a prompt, ask yourself, do I really need all this for this task? If not, keep it basic. Use extra features only when they actually help. That way you save your heavier usage for the moments that really matter. A lot of the time, simple tasks only needs a simple setup, and keeping things simple is one of the easiest ways to make your account last longer. Tip number 8 is don't keep uploading the same long files again and again. This one is easy to miss, but it can waste a lot of tokens. If you keep giving Claude the same PDFs, the same documents, or the same notes in different chats, that adds up fast. And I think a lot of us do this without even thinking about it. You open a new chat, you want some context, you just upload the same thing again. It feels harmless, but if the file is long, it can eat up a lot of usage. So if you already know you'll be working from the same material, try to keep things more organized. Reuse a summary, reuse the important notes, or keep one clean version of the context that you can paste in when needed. The main point is simple. If Claude keeps having to read the same long thing over and over, you are going to burn throughout your limit much faster. So try not to make Claude start from zero every single time. So yeah, if you want Claude to last longer, the real goal is not just sending fewer messages for no reason. The real goal is to use fewer unnecessary tokens. That means keep chat shorter, don't stack loads of follow-up corrections, put more into one clear prompt, keep your prompt simple, save repeated instructions, use the right model, turn off extra features you don't need, and don't keep feeding Claude the same long files over and over again. None of these tips are hard on their own, but when you start doing them, they're making a really big difference. And once you get used to using Claude this way, you'll notice your limit lasts much longer and using it feels way less frustrating. At the end of the day, it's really not about using Claude less, it's about using it smarter. If this video helped you, let me know in the comments. If you have any of your own tips for saving Claude tokens, drop it below too, because I am sure other people would love to see them. Also, don't forget to subscribe, like, and ring the bell. Again, guys, thanks for watching till the end, and I will see you in the next video.